A high-profile disability attorney who has been scrutinized by federal investigators before is now facing charges in a new federal case.
I'm Mike Byer in Lexington, where in just a few hours, Mayor Jim Gray will present his budget speech to the Urban County Council.
Looks good the rest of the day, still on the chilly side of things. And then we look for gusty rain tomorrow, then chilly rain, and then we could see some snowflakes on down the road. I'm going to talk about all that, a very active forecast coming up.
This is WKYT News at Noon.
Good afternoon from WKYT News. I'm Barbara Bailey.
I'm Bill Bryant. Here's what's happening at noon. A well-known disability attorney in eastern Kentucky will be on the other side of the law later this afternoon.
Eric Kahn will face a judge at 3:30 on charges of fraud, money laundering, and destroying records in a federal case. WKYT's Mark Barber is outside the federal courthouse in Lexington with the very latest. It's our top story at noon. Mark?
Good afternoon, Barbara. The last time that Eric Kahn was the center of a federal investigation, he was not charged with a crime. This time, however, things are different. He's facing 6 charges. He will be making his first court appearance here at the federal courthouse in Lexington at 3:30 this afternoon. The FBI arrested the high-profile attorney last night and jailed him in the Pike County Detention Center. Kahn is facing a number of charges, including conspiracy to commit mail fraud and wire fraud, conspiracy to structure currency transactions, making false statements, and laundering money. According to a federal indictment issued on April 1st, the charges stem from a disability scheme that involved Kahn, a psychologist named Alfred Adkins, and a Social Security judge named David Daughtry. This is how court papers describe the allegations. Kahn filed more than 2,000 disability claims that went to the Social Security Administration's office in Huntington, West Virginia from 2004 to 2013. Daughtry worked in that office, and he would search for Kahn's claims so he could approve them. Kahn also worked with Adkins, who would label his clients disabled, even if they were not. Kahn would falsify medical reports and would then send those reports back to Daughtry, who used the medical information to approve those disability claims. According to the indictment, the Social Security Administration handed out more than $600 million to Kahn's clients during a 9-year time frame. Federal investigators are also accusing Kahn of trying to threaten a witness as well as destroying evidence once he realized that federal investigators were looking into his practice. We'll have more on that part of the story coming up on WKYT News at 12:30. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. And we started looking into the case involving Eric Kahn 3 years ago. Then the accusations against him stunned lawmakers on Capitol Hill. It was a case that was talked about in Washington. WKYT investigative reporter Miranda Combs continues our team coverage now from the live desk. Miranda?
Bill, as you know, billions of dollars in disability payments put Eric Kahn in the spotlight. Despite a congressional investigation and plenty of attention, he's remained quiet.
I respectfully assert my constitutional right not to testify here today, sir.
That was Eric Kahn when he was called to testify before Congress in 2013. The retired judge he was accused of colluding with left the hearings before he was called to testify. At the time, Kahn was said to be the 3rd highest paid disability lawyer in the country. As Mark mentioned, the disability cases he represented totaled $600 million. The case against him first came to light in 2011. 2 women who processed disability claims filed a whistleblower lawsuit against Kahn and that retired judge. Fast forward to May of last year, the Social Security Administration suspended payments for 900 of Kahn's former clients. One of those, a Floyd County man, took his own life. Others sued the federal government. The charges against Kahn carry criminal penalties of up to 20 years in prison and up to $250,000 in fines. At the live desk, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
Miranda, thank you very much, and WKYT will be there when Eric Kahn appears in federal court this afternoon. And for more on the case and the latest updates, go to WKYT.com or look inside the WKYT News app.
We're working to learn more about the victim of a deadly crash in Lexington. The driver of the car lost control and slammed into an excavator on New Circle Road near Old Frankfort Pike yesterday. 2 people were in the car at the time, and the passenger side had extensive damage. The Fayette County coroner says a 35-year-old man in the car died at UK Hospital shortly after the crash. The man's name is not being released until his family is notified. Well, we're getting a little bit of everything thrown at us this week when it comes to the weather, from sunny and warm conditions to chilly and dry, then even cold and snow. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center now with a look at all the wild weather, Micah.
I was about to say, the way you described it, it's up and down all week long, and that's the way it's going to be, especially as we get toward the late in the work week. Live sky camera, there's your shot outside. It's beautiful today, but it's much cooler. We're about 15 to 20 degrees below where we were just yesterday at this time, and we'll finish off upper 40s to lower 50s once it's all said and done. So some pretty chilly air in store, even though we have the mostly sunny skies at this moment. Only a few clouds, northern zones, and back toward the northwest. Don't expect any rain today. I want to zoom out and show you the big picture. The big picture here is the system back toward the Dakotas. That is heading our direction, and that is what's going to give us not only showers and a few rumbles of thunder for tomorrow, but also some very gusty winds. We're going to be dealing with that just like we did this past Saturday, where it was extremely strong 50+ mile-an-hour winds. We'll talk about that, and then we'll show you what's back behind that with much colder air and even some flakes. I'll show you that coming up.
Then there's that. Even though we're in April. Well, Lexington Mayor Jim Gray has outlined his proposed budget for the city over the 2017 fiscal year that's to come. And while he didn't give specifics about what he intends to ask from the city council later this afternoon, he did express his desire to allocate more money for public safety. WKYT's Mike Byer has the details from today's briefing.
Before Mayor Jim Gray delivers his budget speech this afternoon, he held an embargoed briefing this morning on what to expect.
The budget that I'm proposing today is based on blocks that build Lexington's business and build our brand.
Mayor Gray says his proposed budget is based off of basic building blocks. Some of his budget priorities include public safety, economic development, funding for parks, and basic services like improving roads. Mayor Gray says our economy continues to be strong. The budget for fiscal year 2017 is $345 million compared to our current fiscal year budget of $324 million. That's good enough for a 6.6% increase. This will also mark the 4th year in a row that Lexington sees a surplus.
When I think of the 3 most important goals in the city, creating jobs, running government efficiently, and building a great American city, this budget reflects those priorities.
Now, Mayor Jim Gray says he feels great about this budget, a budget he says he's confident will be passed. In Lexington, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Mike, thank you. Mayor Gray will deliver his budget speech to the Urban County Council at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Retired U.S. soccer star Abby Wambach is scheduled to speak at the University of Kentucky later today, and it comes just days after she was arrested for a suspected DUI. Police in Portland, Oregon arrested Wambach early Sunday. She posted an apology on her Facebook page and took full responsibility for her actions. Wambach is a World Cup soccer champion and a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. She announced her retirement from the sport in October. Wambach is the featured speaker for the UK Student Activity Board's Women of the World event. That's set for 8 o'clock tonight at Memorial Hall. By the way, that event is free and it is open to the public. Well, he went home with plenty of hardware after Sunday night's Academy of Country Music Awards. He won several big trophies. And big trophies.
And did you notice Kentucky native Chris Stapleton showing off his hometown in a new commercial during the broadcast? In the ad for Dodge Ram trucks, Stapleton drives through Paintsville, making several stops along the way. It was shot last month when Stapleton played a free concert at Johnson Central High School, where he was valedictorian.
You're right, and very, very proud of where he's from. It's a great story. Well, Wisconsin voters are heading to the polls today, and they're playing a bigger role in the race for the White House than anyone expected. We'll have a primary preview coming up on Kentucky's #1 midday news.
Also ahead, Indonesia threatens to ban Oscar winner Leonardo DiCaprio over a controversial Instagram post. We'll have more on the hot button issue next on WKYT.
Think for a moment. You don't think twice about having your eyes tested, but what about your hearing? Hi, I'm Marcia Mattingly. At Beltone, we've helped thousands of people lead richer, fuller lives by showing them that they can hear the way they should. At Beltone, a free hearing test can determine if you need hearing help. Call now. You have everything to gain. 50 years and 3 generations serving the tri-state with the most trusted name in hearing aids, Beltone.
The Lexington Legends 16th season in the Bluegrass begins Thursday, April 7th. Check out LexingtonLegends.com for tickets at all the Stash-tastic promotions coming your way all summer long.
All across America, families are coming back to Time Warner Cable for a whole new experience.
We came back for internet speeds so fast, even the kids are impressed. Oh, she's impressed.
We're catching up on movies and shows on demand just as fast as we can watch them.
TWC's home Wi-Fi is so strong, we can use all our devices at the same time.
Come back today. You'll get 30 meg internet, TV, phone, and more for $89.99 a month. And ask how you could get a $300 reward card. Call now.
Look, the wolf was huffing and puffing.
Like you do sometimes, Grandpa?
Well, when you have COPD, it can be hard to breathe. It can be hard to get air out, which can make it hard to get air in. So I talked to my doctor. She said,
Symbicort could help you breathe better, starting within 5 minutes. Symbicort doesn't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden symptoms. Symbicort helps provide significant improvement of your lung function. Symbicort is for COPD, including chronic bronchitis and emphysema. It should not be taken more than twice a day. Symbicort contains formoterol. Medicines like formoterol increase the risk of death from asthma problems. Symbicort may increase your risk of lung infections, osteoporosis, and some eye problems. You should tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it.
Symbicort could mean a day with better breathing. Watch out, piggies!
Symbicort. Breathe better, starting within 5 minutes. Call or go online to learn more about a free trial offer. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
The Lexington Legends 16th season in the Bluegrass begins Thursday, April 7th. Check out LexingtonLegends.com for tickets at all the Stash-tastic promotions coming your way all summer long.
Welcome back to WKYT News at noon. The frontrunners for the Republican and Democratic presidential nominations could find trouble in Wisconsin today.
Craig Boswell is out on the campaign trail to explain why.
The lines at polling places suggest there could be a big turnout in today's Wisconsin primaries.
That's your biggest supporter, Donald.
Donald Trump met with voters in a suburban Milwaukee diner where he hinted at a surprise.
There's something, it's going to be interesting tonight. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I think we're going to do great.
But the polls show Trump trailing Ted Cruz. The Texas senator says he has the momentum.
If we have a good night tomorrow, that'll be 4 states in a row where Donald Trump has gotten whooped.
Getting whooped in Wisconsin would hurt Trump's chances of clinching the nomination before the convention.
If Donald Trump loses tonight and loses decisively, like walks away with no delegates, it becomes almost impossible for him to get to 1,237, to get a majority of delegates.
The delegate race on the Democratic side isn't likely to change much, even if Bernie Sanders continues his recent run of victories.
We have won 6 out of the last 7 caucuses and primaries.
Clinton's campaign released a memo pointing out the secretary has won 58% of the popular vote so far, and Sanders would need to win 60% of the remaining vote to beat her.
The first woman president of the United States of America, Hillary Clinton!
Clinton has spent most of the last week campaigning in her home state of New York, which votes 2 weeks from today. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
And Clinton has a 10-point lead in New York, according to the latest CBS News Battleground Tracker poll. She and Sanders will be holding a debate there a week from Thursday. Federal investigators are interviewing surviving members of the Amtrak construction crew today following Sunday's deadly train derailment outside of Philadelphia. Authorities say Amtrak train 89 was going more than 100 miles an hour when it slammed into a backhoe on the tracks, killing 2 Amtrak workers. The engineer reportedly applied the emergency brakes just 5 seconds before it crashed. Amtrak says it is working with the NTSB to identify other issues that led up to the deadly accident. Well, Oscar-winning actor Leonardo DiCaprio is making some waves in Indonesia.
Government officials for the island nation say DiCaprio lacked complete information when he criticized the destruction of rainforests during a visit to a protected national park last month. DiCaprio uploaded photos to his Instagram account expressing concerns over wildlife whose habitats are threatened by palm oil plantations. Officials said he would be blacklisted from returning to Indonesia if he continues to post provocative statements. DiCaprio has been an outspoken advocate for environmental protection.
Coming up at 12:30, we'll tell you how you can get free smoke detectors installed in your home by the Lexington Fire Department.
Next 24 hours will change big time, especially the way it looks outside. So those temperatures surge northbound, and here comes that next system with some rain. I'll show you that coming up next.
Stay connected to the news that matters to you. WKYT.
Hey, America! I'm getting fired up for Golden Corral's new Fired Up Favorites. They're launching flavor to a whole new level. I'm heading there now! It's endless baby back ribs, wings, and tenders, and bold new flavors like mango habaneros, sriracha, garlic parmesan, and classic buffalo. All for one low price. Rough flight, great landing. Fired Up Favorites only at Golden Corral, the best buffet in the USA.
EKU Center for the Arts presents Tony Award-winning actor Hal Holbrook and Mark Twain tonight.
I never vote for politicians. It only encourages them.
See Hal Holbrook's Mark Twain tonight, April 30th. For tickets, visit EKUcenter.com.
More than 2.5 million Americans suffer brain injuries every year. It's a problem, not just sports injuries, but car wreck head injuries and slip and falls are among the leading causes. Hughes & Coleman has represented thousands of victims devastated by brain injuries. Sadly, some people aren't even aware that they have them. If you notice any of these brain injury indicators, consult a doctor immediately.
If you'd like to learn more, call 800-800-4600 or visit HughesandColeman.com.
It's a routine call, a code 7 at a local laundromat. What we saw, well, nothing can prepare you for it. We went in, we approached the victim. He was dying of boredom. Agents of play, sir. We got there just in time. We handed him a scratch-off ticket and watched him play. Thank you. Have fun. I'm serious. His smile, well, that's the only thanks we needed. It's what being an agent of play is all about.
Put a little play in your day, week, month, or year with these exciting new scratch-offs from the Kentucky Lottery. Fueling imagination, funding education.
Grab a pencil. Audubon Hearing Center is seeking 35 people with hearing problems to take part in a 10-day challenge, evaluating a new high-tech hearing device the size of a pencil eraser. Call the number below. Invisibel is the world's first 100% custom invisible digital hearing aid. Hearing consultations will be performed at no charge on all qualified callers. Call the number below and take the 10-day challenge.
What's new at Fazoli's? You've got to try Ultimate Fettuccine, one of our new signature pastas, or the Market Strawberry and Feta Ensalada with house-roasted chicken and so much more. And our new Meatball Da Vinci Submarinos are masterpieces you get to devour. Only at
Fazoli's.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We're looking across the region and seeing bright blue skies, and it's a really nice day, but it doesn't feel great outside. It's still very chilly. We're holding on to the low to mid 40s at this very moment, and we'll continue to take that as we travel off into the afternoon, upper 40s, lower 50s when it's all said and done. That's still kind of cool. I mean, that's about 10 degrees below average when we were just 10 degrees above average just yesterday. So we're kind of flipping the script today, 43 degrees in Boyle County. We go over toward Moorhead. We finished off in Moorhead just below that 32-degree reading, and that went for Maysville, too. Maysville still at 37 degrees. Mount Sterling coming in at 39. Travel through the rest of the day like I was talking about, some in the upper 40s, some in the lower 50s. All in all, everybody's common denominator, mostly sunny skies. Get off toward the evening, no problems, just a little bit chilly. Tomorrow morning, there is a possibility of hitting some freezing temperatures east and southeast again. So here we go again with that. Traveling off toward the morning hours tomorrow morning. Still some frost, a possibility too. And then we hit the afternoon hours. That's when a few rain showers come rolling on in. Gusty winds too. What you're really going to feel tomorrow, and everybody will be talking about, is not so much about the showers and a few rumbles of thunder. It's going to be more about the wind, really gusty. And if you date back toward this past Saturday when it was 40, 50 plus miles per hour, it's pretty much the same story as what we're going to be dealing with for tomorrow. So very gusty wind tomorrow, along with some showers, few rumbles of thunder, and no severe weather expected as of right now. We hit Thursday, some chilly rain with those temperatures diving once again. That's an ugly day. That's not a good feeling day, and it really won't look good either. We hit Friday, a wintry mix that will give us some snow chances, especially late off into the night, but we can't rule out a mixture of some rain involved with that too. But then we have a shot on Saturday. Now, I've just looked at the recent weather data, some of these updates from these weather models, and still in my forecast, I still believe we will see a few flakes there in the forecast on Saturday. So really, all in all, today is a very calm day, still a little bit chilly, but then we hit Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We finally get a break on Sunday, but look at those days, 4 consecutive days in a row with gusty winds, very rainy conditions. You won't get a lot of rain out of this. This isn't a huge rainmaker, but it does cover a large real estate of our viewing area. And that'll take you into tomorrow, too. Both tomorrow and also Thursday are 60% chances of rain. And then Friday and Saturday, guys, the big talker that we're going to be talking about are some snowflakes. Now, as of right now, I don't see a big system out of this. It's nothing like that because, one, it's coming in from the north. Remember that. A lot of that moisture south of us, those southern storms would give us some pretty good snow totals, but not this time around. It's just the fact that we're talking about snow. Oh. Yeah. That's what
Enough said. We don't need to be talking about snow.
We've had snow in May before.
We have.
Forget about that.
Well,
So
which kind of horse runs best in the snow? Huh?
All of them. All of them. All of them better take off, man. Stay warm.
Try to stay warm.
Thank you for that tip.
Yeah,
we appreciate that.
We're back in a moment, and the field is set for the Bluegrass Stakes. I guess we'll find out. Right?
Also, what a finish last night of the Final Four. Dave Baker's next with sports.
And as we check stocks as we head to break this afternoon, the major market indicators are all down at midday.